You're really going down in the South. You wasn't expecting that. I know you wasn't expecting that. I hit that note on your ass, Pat. You wasn't expecting that. Hey man, welcome back to another episode of the Freedom Train podcast series. I am your host, Joseph Ward, and as always, riding with me is my good homie, Mr. Patrick Irvin. We right here on the Freedom Train Network at www.freedomtrainradio.com. Hey, remember that the Freedom Train podcast series is brought to you by PAX Inc. And PAX Inc. is a Black development organization aimed at developing the Black community to its maximum potential through a focus on education and economics with the traits of hard work, honesty, and integrity. And go to my handy dandy screen, because if you look at the top when you pull up the website, www.pactinc.org, pactinc.org. Across the top, you see the tabs. It says the code, which gives you the code of conduct that PAX Inc. created to help the black community work more as a concise unit, like Big Mama said, and what was that? What was the movie?
I don't know. Big Mama's house.
About the Sunday dinner.
Sunday dinner.
I don't know, but she said, "Yeah, there you go, soul food." Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, she said, "If you operating as individual fingers, you ain't talking about nothing. But if you make a fist, you can strike a mighty blow." And that's what the codes of conduct to help Black community do: come together like a fist and strike a mighty blow to the face of racism. You can go to the About tab and learn more about PAX Inc. You can become a member. You can donate to the organization. You can get involved in the initiatives that they have. There's a Learning Center tab, which is one of my favorite parts. And if you hover your mouse over that Learning Center, drop down boxes to come down with resources that you can use to help enhance your education, enhance your survival skills, enhance anything you need. So www.pactinc.org. Don't forget to scroll down a little bit. They have an Amazon Smile program. Go to Amazon. Register for the Amazon Smile program. The organization you would pick will be PAX Inc. And then from there on out, every time you go to Amazon, you will register through you'll log in, and then you will log in through the Amazon Smile program. Bam. Go ahead and buy your regular items like you would normally buy your items. Bam. And part of your purchase will go to PAX Inc. to help PAX Inc. So make sure you do that. www.pactinc.org. Make sure you go to our Freedom Train website at www.freedomtrainradio.com, where we have the best podcasting in the world for you. 5 of the greatest podcasts, maybe 6 podcasts. I can't count right now, but of course, every Wednesday, check out this Freedom Train podcast series. Every Monday, check out the Fix Sports podcast. Every Tuesday, Lessons from the Screen. Every Wednesday, Shelby's World Plus Freedom Train podcast series. Every Thursday, Lessons from the Screen. Nope. Okay, every Friday, Lessons from the Screen. Enigma September is dropping which day? It's Mondays, and On the Shoulders of Giants is on Saturdays.
And
so make sure
the book club.
Freedom Train.
Thing.
When that
on Sundays.
Tell them about that. Tell them about the Freedom Train book club, man.
So the Freedom Train book club is also going to be sponsored by PAX Inc. because all of the books we reading is on the website. But that's going to be on Sundays, and basically we're going to be going through books and we're going to be reading them. Not going through them at all. We're just going to be reading books. That's it. Like the whole podcast is going to be broken down. Every episode is going to be a new section of the book. So if you see a book, on the website that you thought was interesting or whatever, the first book we're going to read is the narrative of Henry Bibb, which is actually a very, very, very interesting story. If you guys hadn't checked it out, it talks about him and how he lived as a slave and got married and escaped to freedom, and the whole situation with what happened with his wife. And it's very detailed, very graphic. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful story. That's going to be the first book we've read. And if you haven't read a slave narrative before, it's a wonderful one to start on, because This thing about slave narratives is they're not like most people that haven't read them think they are. Like they not all doom and gloom and sorrow and blah. Nah, like those are some really, really, really interesting narratives, and it really gives you a good and accurate idea of what those people went through. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right. Now I'm with you. I'm with you. Those are some, like you said, those are some things people actually got to get into and read and see it for themselves instead of just taking secondhand stories because people sometimes they be taking them shits from other people who heard about. So
Right.
check it out, check it out, check it out. www.freedomtrainradio.com is the website. Check us out. The greatest podcasting in the world. So we have been breaking down Ice Cube's contract with Black America.
Right.
But part of this show today, we're going to dedicate to looking over the factors, the pros and cons of is it even worth continuing to break down Ice Cube's contract for Black America? And I ask those questions because one, Joe Biden has won the presidency, and Ice Cube wasn't able to build rapport thus far with the Biden administration. Two, it seemed like the black community like fuck you, Ice Cube. Three, Joe Biden has his own plan.
Yes, he
In
does.
addition, and that's in addition to them not having a sit down to build a rapport. Joe Biden has his own plan. And four, what's the fourth? Is there a fourth? Does it need to be a fourth?
Uh, Probably not.
Okay. So, um, because like I say, looks like Joe Biden gonna be our president,
Yeah.
right? Now there are a lot of people who are saying that the Democrats cheated. Uh, there's a lot of people who don't believe that Joe Biden is actually going to be able to take the presidency because he allegedly cheated and all these things going to the Supreme Court. People are going to be going to overturn things. Let's just deal with that real quick because that's going to affects the contract with Black America. So, help. I know we talked about this on the phone the other day, but what have you heard surrounding the Joe Biden administration cheating or you know getting extra votes counted for them to help win some of them states that they want?
So I want to start by saying that if you do have questions about the election, I answered six of the most frequently asked questions to me on the show yesterday. So, well, we recorded it Monday, but we dropped it yesterday on Tuesday. So definitely go back and check out the latest episode of Lessons from the Screen. Six questions about Joe Biden and one question about COVID. But anyways, getting into this, look, people is making up all kinds of stories and all kinds of fairy tales about whatever. The fact of the matter is, Donald Trump is, and I repeat, the Trump administration is 0 for 10 right now in terms of their lawsuits. Yeah, they losing. They batting 0 for 10 right now. And the fact of the matter is, there's no credible evidence. There's nothing credible to suggest there was any sort of cheating going on. What's happening is Donald Trump is too stupid to understand how counting works and how voting works and how people work. You told your voters not to do mail in ballots. You told them to go to the polls. So the Democrats, meanwhile, told their voters to do mail in ballots to stay safe. So you were winning on election day. Listen to me, Trump. If you ever see this, listen to it. I know you probably already turned it off as soon as I called you stupid. But if you ever
I'm not
see this,
stupid.
or if any of your descendants ever see this, your granddad, or great granddad, or whoever, when you tell people to go to the polls, you're going to have an edge at the polls. But when those other people who were told to do mail in ballots, when their votes start getting counted, you're going to start losing. All right, that's how numbers work.
No, I'm not, Patrick. No, I'm not. You're a liar. Fake news. You're a liar.
Oh, but the fact of the matter is, no, there's no credible evidence that
Okay.
any sort of cheating occurred, and even the evidence that I did read that was could be considered somewhat credible is like the person was talking about a order of magnitude of hundreds of votes in a state where he lost by thousands.
Right.
It's not gonna matter even if all of those votes were overturned. You're still losing by thousands, bro.
Right. So you see this? You can see this picture.
Yeah.
This is what I was looking for. This is actually what I was looking for. And because when I saw this the other day, I was like, whoa. First of all, because it's from Plies, who his contributions to the black community were Busted Babies and Sweet Pussy Sad. Those have been his contributions to Black America so far. Busted Babies and Sweet Pussy Sad. So I was surprised he put this one up. But I was also surprised. The only person I was surprised I felt like shouldn't have been in here was Ice Cube.
Well, why is Waka Flocka on here? I
I,
agree with you. Ice Cube
yeah.
shouldn't be on there. But why is
Now,
Waka Flocka on there?
I have to be honest, I have no idea, and I didn't have the desire to find out. To be honest. And then the white dude, I have no idea who the white dude is, and the little dude with the little 1990s afro in the back, I don't know who he is.
I
But
don't think that's a white dude. Cause why would a white dude be on the Coon Squad? He might be like Hispanic or like super light
but
skinned or
I
something.
think because he a rapper, and but also remember this coming from Plies. So and let's hold it. Let's review Plies' contributions to Black America. Once again, it's Busted Babies and
Bust
Sweet
it,
Pussy Sad.
baby.
And Sweet Pussy Sad. So now, that's why I was looking for this because I felt like, first of all, Ice Cube shouldn't be on this, but this is an
Exactly.
example of how the black community feels about Cube right now. But I think, in my opinion, the disdain is unnecessary. The disdain is it's a lot of things. I know people feel like I know we saw Cube get played. We saw that. We did see Cube get played, but we didn't see Cube sell his community out. And this picture is indicating, or assuming or saying that Cube sold his community out. And I was just trying to put the pieces together because I don't understand how with this Cube would have sold his community out. I need help understanding that because
Yeah, not.
you know,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep
now I
going.
just want to say we know he got played by both sides because the white lady from the Democrats, the white lady from the Republicans threw him out there like that.
Yes, you did.
And the Democrats
Woo.
came, the Democrats presented him with a lose-lose situation at a time where they already saw he was in deep shit. So they was like, hey, come sit down at a meeting with me and a whole bunch of other rappers, with Kamala Harris and a bunch of other rappers, which is a losing situation. Or and if you don't show up, it's gonna look like, well, see, Q don't want to rock with us. So they presented him with a lose-lose situation. Now, he got played by both sides, but what did he do wrong?
I don't think he did. To me, in terms of what he actually did, and we've talked about this before, what he actually did, I don't have a problem with it. Like, he created a plan
Right,
and he tried to get political buy-in for his plan, and he tried to get it from both sides.
right,
The only problem I have with what happened was after the fallout. Like, instead of just owning it, he tried to play it to the left, tried to play it to the right, and the Democrats hit him over the head after the Republicans had used him. And so there was some things about what he did that I would have changed in terms of I would have had him be open. And we talked about this. Both of us agreed on it. Would have had him be. Oh, if I was advising him, I would have told him, if you're gonna do this, you need to be upfront, open, honest, and public
anything you
about it.
doing with Trump now, you got to tell people first that you're doing this and
Right,
and explain to them why you're doing this because you are going in representing Black America. So we
right.
deserve to know what the hell you're doing.
And the secondary issue there, and it's a big secondary, but it is a secondary issue because what you said, I agree, is the primary issue. But the secondary issue is the Trump administration has been known to use Negroes.
Steve Harvey, Jim Brown,
Right,
Kanye.
right, right, and throw them away. You do not want to be the latest in a long line of Negroes getting used and thrown away. And that's essentially what ended up happening. And it was very preventable. Very preventable if he had better advisors. And I know he knows the disdain the black community has for Donald Trump. This should
Of
have been
course.
common sense for somebody in his circle to be like, look, Q, if you're gonna meet with Donald Trump, you need to talk to the black community first. You got to get some semblance of communal acceptance for what you doing.
Right.
Where even and we know everybody ain't gonna agree, but you need to present your case to the community before you follow through with it.
Yeah. Now but I still don't get why people don't get that if you create a contract, you're gonna have to contract with somebody. And you particularly gonna have to contract with the party or the administration that's in power. Right?
I think people get that. I think what they're struggling with is I think Cube lost a lot of credibility because of how it came out. I really think that's the issue with it.
Well, now I agree with that people lost credibility or Cube lost credibility because how it came out. But I do know that there are people who really don't understand because people are like, well, why would he go talk to Donald Trump? What you mean, why? Like,
Yeah,
did he not create a contract with Black America? Like, I literally had people like I saying like they don't understand why Cube talked to Donald Trump.
yeah, I think those are people that don't know what he was trying to do. They hadn't read the plan. They didn't understand the goals, and so they don't know why he would be trying to talk to Trump. I think that is those are people that might be ignorant, but you also have another group of people that just is like Trump is untrustworthy. You can't take
Right,
his word for nothing, so why go talk to him? And that's a valid
right.
argument too.
So in seeing that post float through social media, looking at comment because I didn't really peruse all the comments, but looking at some of the comments, I saw like mixed reviews. Some like, yeah, all them coons, and some of them like, hey, not Cube, not Cube. But it leads to the question of, is Ice Cube's contract with Black America done? Is it done? Because we know there's a large section of Black Americans and a large section of Democrats who not fucking with Cube because Cube
Talk to
he
Donald Trump.
he
Period.
talked to Donald Trump. And well, some people mad that he had the contract, period. But for the majority of the people mad because he talked to Donald Trump.
Hmm.
So
I mean, I was frustrated. I won't say I was mad. I was disturbed, but it wasn't just about Cube. It was about the fact that all of these celebrities are popping their heads up out of the sand with things that regular people have been doing for years.
right,
And like, oh, look at me. Look, I did this. And
they're
it's
trying
like,
to look
all
like
right, bro.
pioneers or something.
Right, right. So, but that wasn't just with Cube. Like, I didn't, because what he tried to do is something that I don't necessarily have a problem with a bunch of different people doing, creating a plan and trying to execute it. I think we need as many different plans as we can. We need to get them. Now, they all need to be discussed within the community first, but I do think there's a lot of value in a lot of different plans. Um, but as far as your question of is it done, and I know you're gonna give your take right after this, but I think so. I mean, I think if we're being honest again, the Biden plan is more in depth. It's a better plan if you could label any of them plans for Black people. I mean, I know you're gonna get into that. Um, but the Black political or the Black caucus also has a
As a
plan.
plan. Yeah.
And between the Biden plan and the caucus plan and a couple other plans that we know that they're looking at, they've got everything in Q's plan already covered.
With with
So
with action steps.
right, right, right. So I don't see any room for Cube's plan in the Democratic platform, especially not given the way everything has kind of rolled out with the Trump administration playing Cube, and then Cube trying to save himself by playing the Democrats, and then the Democrats play Cube back, and I just don't see no good blood there.
Well, let me ask this: would Cube's plan even be relevant if Trump was continuing as president with his platinum plan? Would Cube's plan even still be relevant then?
I don't think so, honestly, because I don't see Trump carrying out anything in that plan outside of the most superficial of superficial items. Even with the turning Juneteenth into a federal holiday, like the president can't do that,
But why?
and it right, and it's not meaningful, right? Um, but it's one of them things where like we were kind of going over the plan because
It
it
was
was
relevant.
yeah, it
It
was
was
relevant
relevant
at the
at the
time.
time, and before the fallout, the plan was very relevant because it's something that could have been implemented to either help or hurt Black America.
Right.
But the fallout is to me what messed it up because let's say Ice Cube never talked to the Democrats. I mean, he never talked to the Republicans. If he never talked to the Republicans, there might I think people would look at him different. I think people probably would look at him as a hero. I mean, they look at Stacey Abrams as a hero for getting people to register to vote. So I do think they would have looked at Cube as a hero for creating this plan that demands something for our vote.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I even think any other Republican president besides Donald Trump
It
and
just
Cube,
it's yeah,
yeah, it's
it's
him.
Donald Trump.
It's him, right? Any other scenario that doesn't involve Donald Trump, Cube comes out of this looking amazing. You know,
But
you could chalk that up, put a mark on his legacy.
But if let's just be real though, if he would have been partisan, which meaning if he would have only fucked with Democrats, he would still be viable, and his
Oh
plan
yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
still his plan would still be viable, even though it may not be something that the Democrat Party use, but it would still be viable as of right now because people wouldn't look at it as oh well this Ice Cube shit, so we ain't fucking with it.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. If he would have had a sit down with the Democrats, any of them, this whole thing would have looked a lot different. Even if he had a sit down with the Democrats after he had to sit down with Trump, it would have looked different. Just being able to say being able to honestly say I sat down with both sides would have made it look different. You still would have had your people like, why the fuck would
Yeah,
he go sit with
yeah,
Trump?
and but see, once again, it's like we said when we was actually looking at the contract. Who were these advisors? Who were these people that were on your team that helped you put it together and that was to helping with strategies, or if they was they even a team? Because if you had advisors and other people who were like activism and fighting for Black people is what they do, and
Right.
they advise this. Don't fuck with them no more.
Well, I think he definitely need to stop taking advice from whoever he was taking advice from, and that's the same thing we should, well, I should, even about Colin Kaepernick. A lot of these celebrities, I don't know who the resident expert for Black America is on the celebrity level. I'm tending to think that it's the same people because all of these celebrities keep doing the same thing and making the same mistakes in terms of meaningful progress being made.
Yeah,
But whoever this person or this group is that's advising all these celebrities on how to best help the Black community, they need to stop. And these celebrities need to stop listening to them.
straight up. I mean, but we have such a celebrity driven culture within Black America. It's black people not going to stop listening to celebrities, even though over and over again we are taking nowhere. We spun in circles. We're not going to stop following celebrities because we believe that we really like some section of Black people really believe that one of these celebrities really going to lead us out of all of the detriment that we're in. And it's like, all right. So I mean,
Yeah.
but all right, so black so I do agree that Black America is pretty much done with Cube like that. Like I think it's more people who done with him than people who are not. So Cube does have an audience. Cube
Oh yeah,
does
yeah,
have
yeah.
people who rocking with him, but for the majority of Black America not, because the majority of Black America clearly rock with Democrats. Um and they feel like, hey man, you ain't rocking with our team. You talk to Donald Trump. I don't. Well, I'm gonna say that for the next part. But black people, I don't feel a lot of positive energy and a lot of positive, and I don't hear a lot of positive things coming out now about Cube and around Cube. Because, like I say, if you got somebody like Plies calling him, putting him a part of this coon squad, and I didn't hear of any major backlash against Plies. Because I'm like, Plies?
Yeah.
Plies? And
Yeah.
then, because I'm be just be all right. What the hell has Plies ever done for black folk, or ever said for black folk, or ever taught black folk, or anything? How has Plies ever stood up for black folk in the face of real anything? What messages have Plies put out? Like it or not, even just like off the strength of fuck the police is greater than anything Plies has ever thought about. Just the political awareness around that, and we know Cube was like the mastermind pen behind that.
Yeah, I don't see where Plies has any room to call anybody a coon, especially with his claim to fame is pretending to be something that he's not in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and promoting a destructive culture. So
You a goon,
yeah, like he don't even talk like
right?
he don't even, like you fake, bruh. Like
Don't make me go find that Jamie Foxx clip of him talking about Plies hiding in the bathroom in L.A. when them gangsters came to see how much of a goon he was,
I mean, look, Plies got exposed by Trick, and that ain't no disrespect to Trick,
bruh.
but
Plies got
but
exposed by Jamie Foxx, a singer, actor, comedian exposed Plies. We ain't even got to go to Trick.
yeah, because the only reason I bring up Trick is because we both from Tallahassee, and we
Right.
done both heard and seen and know about the stories of Trick getting his ass beat by dudes on Fairview campus.
But
So,
but
but
it's
no
just
slight to Trick, because at
nah.
least he was
Well,
fighting.
Trick a real. We know
Yeah,
Trick a
Trick,
real one.
Trick is right,
Trick a real one.
but
Like hell, just Trick. Like Trick has been more politically 100 times, a million times more politically aware than Plies. That was my only thing with this one that Plies put out is you. First of all, like I say, Cube didn't do anything coonish.
no,
He
he
didn't
didn't.
do no sellout shit, but for you, like for real, Plies, for real, you come on, bruh. Come on, bro. Don't think you really a figure and you really doing something for black people because you sitting on your social media giving us your opinion about stuff. All right, you feel the same way everybody else feel because you said it. That don't make you a leader or nothing like that. Like, come on, man. Like, stop that. But if you're gonna call somebody out, like at least let it be some factual shit. Like, don't put Ice Cube in that picture with the rest of them cats.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Like, that's
There
that
ain't,
bullshit.
yeah, that's flaw. Like, and there ain't nothing factual or whatever about Cube being considered a coon, because he didn't do coonish shit. Like, even though he met with Donald Trump, the man y'all despise, he met with Donald Trump with genuine intentions to get something for black people, and you
For
can
that vote.
read the plan. You can read the plan, and there ain't no coon shit in the plan. Like, we can feel however we want to feel about certain aspects of it. There are certain aspects of it that I think are dangerous and damaging. But all in all, I think the intent of the plan is to progress black people. So if he took that up there to the White House, then you can't say that that was coon shit. You know,
It's
you
not.
can't.
It's not coon shit, man. It's because we'll be the first one to call the motherfucker out. Like we
Yeah,
don't give no shits. But come on, man, stop that. All right, so Black America pretty much like yeah for well there's a good number of Black Americans who like all right, Q, we ain't rocking with you. All right, so Joe Biden look like he gonna do it. So does Joe Biden's administration after everything that has happened, and we're not talking and this part we're not even including his plan. So we're just talking about the administration, period.
all right.
Do the Joe Biden administration are they fucking with Q? Are they fucking with the contract with Black America? Are they signing the contract?
I don't think they are, but publicly, I don't. I think they just publicly don't acknowledge Cube at this point. If they do, it'll be on some just like political points for black people, and maybe to gain a potential ally in upcoming political contests. But I don't see them doing anything meaningful with that contract with Black America. And even if somebody like a Kamala Harris signs it, or somebody like lower in the administration, or even if Joe Biden signs it, I don't see them acting on any of that stuff. Not outside the realms of what they've already decided to do. Like if they signed it and was like, we're gonna do this, this, and this, it's probably because it was already in the plans to do that, that, and that. Like I don't see them doing anything like specifically because it's in the plan. I don't see that.
Yeah. I think the optics now are just so bad surrounding all of that is well, okay. The optics are bad, but
Right.
I think Kamala may give him another chance. She might give him another chance. I do believe another opportunity for a meeting may happen. I
I
do
think it's
think,
gonna happen. I agree with that.
but what are going to be the particulars? Because they can't, from what we saw, all right, so they can't come the same way they can. You can't come with Snoop Dogg, DL Hughley, and the Animaniacs or whoever else they had trying to be a part of the
He
meeting.
said Animaniacs.
They black, racist. That's racist ass shit. I had you go back and think about it. Them the three little them was pickaninnies. Ain't that a bitch? But they can't come at but because I do agree with Q. That was some bullshit though, man. Like I got a whole plan. And you come at me with DL Hughley, Snoop Dogg, and some other motherfuckers who just got ideas and opinions. I got a whole plan. But like I said, it was a lose-lose situation though. Like, so we set this particular meeting up with these people. So if you come to the meeting, it we know DL Hughley and Cube gonna disagree. So we know that's gonna happen. It's gonna have to be some moderation. Will real issues be discussed and taken into account? Cube said the last time he met with somebody from the administration that they talked for 45 minutes and they didn't even talk about the plan. I was like, well, you got to make sure that happens. But that comes from being his lack of political savviness.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's on him.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I really I think they'll give him another chance, but like I said, I don't think they'll come at him the same way as far as that type of meeting. Um, and they'll leave it at the you don't show up this time, then it's on you, and that's gonna make him look even worse. So
I tell you, go ahead.
or they could set up an even worse lose situation for him.
Well, I agree with you that it was a lose lose, but I think he put himself in that position to be in a lose lose situation.
Well, yeah, it
Um,
was because I
but
mean, after you meet with Trump, after you say you met with Trump, we could, man. It's like it's 4th and 45. But I could rush one person. I ain't worried about you getting the first down. It's 4th and 45.
but the other thing to that is like we don't know the details of his meeting with Trump because it wasn't until later that we found out that he didn't actually meet with Donald Trump himself.
Right.
He met with other people in the Trump administration. So was that a one-on-one meeting? You know what I'm saying? Like how did that meet? But I think one of the things that's gonna help Cube is the narrative that's been painted. And I hate the narrative, but it's true. The narrative that black men are supporting Republicans.
Well,
Um,
that's yeah, and that's a bullshit narrative that need to be
it
squashed
is.
and squashed now. Because if you're going to say that, the number of black women that support Trump doubled.
It did. The
It went
number
from
of black people supporting Trump doubled. Black women and black men. And I think by virtue of there being more black women that voted than black men that voted, I think I could be wrong on that. But I think one of the things I was looking at, and I gotta go check it, actually showed that there was more black women that voted for Trump than black men in terms of raw numbers. But I gotta
Pam.
check
What
that.
what and that lady Pam Keith. I think we talked about the last show. Pam Keith put the tweet out. But yeah, that narrative needs to be destroyed now. There isn't a large percentage of black men that support Donald Trump. That's bullshit. If 80% of black men voted Democrat, last I checked, unless I just woke up to this. I woke up this morning. Just woke up this morning. So I don't know what happened between the time when I went to sleep and when I woke up, or I don't know what happened all these other nights when I was sleeping. I woke up. But last time I checked, 80 was greater than 20. You let me know.
Right.
Has that changed?
To my knowledge, it ain't changed. 80 is still the bigger number, as far as I know.
Now the number of black men that voted for Trump did increase, but it wasn't as much of a significant increase as the number of black women that voted for Trump. And you can
Well,
go
they
look at the numbers.
yeah, they both roughly. We say roughly. They both roughly doubled, but I think if you want to ask the question, why did so many black men vote for Donald Trump? I think that is a valid question. But if you want to ask the question, um, if you want to frame it in such a way, and that's my issue. My issue is with the framing of it. Why are black men supporting Donald Trump in so much larger numbers than they supported him last time? That narrative is broken.
But well,
That narrative is broken.
because we can ask that same question about black women.
Right, and that's why I say the narrative is broken because if you're just going to ask that about black men and leave out the fact that black women doubled in their support of Donald Trump, then now you're painting a picture. You're
Right.
not trying to get at the truth. You're painting a picture. If anybody wanted to ask why did Donald Trump gain so much support from black people as a whole, even that I'm cool with that. Like
That's
that's
a
a
that's a
valid
better question.
discussion.
That's a better question than trying to just single out black men and trying to make it seem like well Donald Trump had the success he had because so many black men like what?
Yeah, and it ain't just Pam, because I was on YouTube just last night. I started to share the picture of it with you, but I didn't want to send you back off. Trevor Noah made a little YouTube post from one of his guests with a caption talking about why so many black men, so many more black men voted for Donald Trump. And the caption was basically a lot of younger black men don't understand that they feel so safe and distanced from racism that they feel like they can vote for their class, not understanding that the class vote that they're making is centered in patriarchy and misogyny, essentially paraphrasing.
So did the young black men tell them that or that was their assumption?
Well, it was this black lady, professor lady assumption. And my thing was, as far as I understood, it wasn't just the young black men. Like young people don't vote. First off, let's start there.
So what would a young because I was having the discussion with this dude yesterday about young people voting because the dude yesterday was like it was an older black dude and he was like he believed Biden gonna help change the world for the better and I was like yeah all right but that's why I tell him young people don't vote. He was like because he's in the school of thought that the young people gonna change the world. Now, like, how the young people gonna change the world when they've been trained by racists? Like people, like I have some people who made the argument that because these racists now have to raise brown and black like mixed race babies, that their hearts are changing. I'm like, so you think this is the first generation of racist grandparents who got to raise black babies? You think it's the first time this happening in America? Like white men been fucking black women and raping black women forever. And this the first time. This the first time Buford got a black grandbaby. You really believe that in the 400 years of America, you believe no white penis has touched black vaginas for hundreds of years until the 1900s? You crazy?
Yeah, it's been interesting because this was a record setting election in general for everybody. Like this was the largest voter turnout, I believe, in a long time. I believe this was a record setting voter turnout. And that includes young people. But to the last that I looked, the vast majority of people under 30 voted Joe Biden. So why they singled out young black men in particular in that Trevor Noah post was very interesting to me. Now some of the numbers I was looking at also showed that young black women were more likely to try to convince other people to vote. In particular, trying to convince other people to vote um, Democratic. But this whole argument about young black men um, turning out look, black men were only 5% of the vote. Like let that sink in. We black men in total were 5% of the total vote. You know what I'm saying? Like we got other things that we need to be talking about. Like why only five? Why were black men only 5% of the total vote? Black women were only 7% of the total vote. Like we got other things we need to be talking about versus trying to
Man,
vilify
but
one
but look,
group over
but
the
look,
other.
this goes. I think, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. This could be my conspiracy theory side coming out. But remember a couple years ago when they were spinning the narrative around women saving Alabama, and
Yeah. We did a show on that.
right, and they said 98% of black women voted for the Democratic candidate Doug Jones, I believe that was his name. They said 98%
Mm-hmm.
of black women voted, which was a truth within a lie within another lie. Because no, for real, like, because yeah, 98. They took that 98% and they manipulated it. Only 17% of black women voted in that particular election that got Doug Jones elected. Only
Mm-hmm.
17 total percent of black women voted. 15 of that 17% voted for Doug Jones. So 15% of 17% is 98%.
Mm-hmm.
But it was only a total of 15% black women who voted for the Democratic candidate. So that could have been foundation to be set up to say, all right, in the future, well, we know look at all these elections that black women keeps winning for the Democrats, and look at how black men not supporting black women and making sure these Democrats win, as if it's the black community's job to get the Democrats vote. See, because people got that fucked up. Fuck these, and that's one thing that the Democratic Party can suck my dick about is it's not our job to put these white people in office. That's not our obligation. Y'all can go to hell with that now. No,
Yeah,
no, no.
I agree with that. But I think to me, and this is the conspiracy theorist in me, there's been a long and concerted effort, a long distance, far back reaching and concerted effort to turn black men and women against each other.
Yep.
Um, the voting thing comes out, and even I made a post about it on social media, and a young black lady chimed in and was like, "I still feel some type of way that even that many, even 18% of black men voted for Donald Trump," and I was kind of like, "You shouldn't feel some type of way. One, like they're entitled to vote how they want to vote,
Yeah.
but the other thing is you're totally ignoring the other roughly 80% of black men that voted in the way that you wanted them to vote, and you're focusing
So
in on the 18%. And let's not forget, there have always been these pockets of people that are going to do what they want to do.
all right, so I wanted you should have asked her, well, how do you feel about the 8% of black women that voted?
You already know that how
Because
that's going to
we
go.
already know she's gonna make an excuse for that.
I
Because
didn't even go ahead.
let's all right, we keeping it real, right? We being real.
Mm-hmm.
Let's a lot of times, and it's not all black women. It may not even be a majority of black women, but there are some black women who, no matter how fucked up some shit some black women do, they always gonna make excuses for it and try to blame somebody else for it. And that's that bullshit. Like don't that if you think that 20% of black men ain't shit for voting for Donald Trump, then that 8% of black women ain't shit. Let's call it even across the board.
Yeah,
There is no excuses for it.
but they play these games with the numbers, like you just talked about the 98%. Um, we talk about the like I did a it's in my book, and I did a whole like show on it, not a whole show recently, but I think we talked about this once in the show. But anyway, the whole black women being the most educated woman in America thing, where it was like that's they playing with numbers on y'all. Like
Mhm.
the numbers they using when they make that argument are acceptance numbers and enrollment numbers for college, not completion numbers for how many of these people actually get a degree, right? So when you look at completion numbers, black women drop down that list. I believe they're like number 4 or 5 on that list. But they're certainly not number one. But because they play these games with numbers, there's a clear problem there that I've been talking about for a while. There's a problem where you have not only the problem of them trying to them turning black men and black women against each other. That's a problem in and of itself. But specifically to this education number, if black women are the most likely group, or if black women are
Must-
getting accepted and enrolled in the colleges at a higher rate than any other group of people in America, but they are not completing college at a higher rate than any other group in America, then there is something happening when black women get in college that needs to be addressed.
Mhm.
But we can't have that discussion if you already think you're part of the most educated group in America, because when somebody comes to you and says, sis, no, you're not. You're getting in college at a higher rate than everybody else, but you're not finishing. Let's discuss why you're not finishing. But you can't, even with the employment situations where you're talking about gender equality and equal pay, something that I agree. We talked about that. There should be equal pay. But let's be real about this. When black women are coming at black men about equal pay, white women make more money than black men.
But how you gonna
Like
come at black? How you gonna come at black men about equal pay? You got to come at white men about equal pay.
you got to come at white people about equal pay, because white women are more likely to be in positions of leadership. They're more likely to be in that chair making hiring and firing decisions. And like I just said, they make more money than black men do. Black or Hispanic men do. They make more money than every man in America but Asian men. So let's be clear about that. Asian and white men, white women make more money than all of the rest of them. So even when we're having this conversation about gender equality, it's another one of those things where they play with the numbers and they
Yep.
have us taking different sides of the fence. And now you have people where it's like, and we've talked about this before, where there are black women that feel a greater sense of loyalty to women in the sisterhood and white women than they feel to black men in their race. And I do feel like black men have a role that we play in that. We've definitely got to do better in a lot of regards.
But you can't.
But
But you can't overlook the devastation white women have done to the black community and just
right,
call them allies because they got vaginas. Like you got to
and
stop that.
that's where I was going. Like, but we also can't overlook the role of white supremacy, the role of racism, and the role that these white women have played in both of those systemic issues that plague the community. Like, you can't overlook that, like you said, because they got a penis and look at me as the equivalent to a white man, or because they got a vagina, and look at me as the equivalent to a white man because I got a penis. Nah, sis.
Right. Right. Yeah, because nobody's calling out white women for all the fucked up stuff they still do. Like white white women have they probably have secret meetings around the country. All right, we're gonna call the police on as many black people as possible to try to get them killed or this or that. Like they still out there doing that, even though the videos have gotten old, they're still out there doing stuff like that that to
Right.
possibly try to get black people killed. Lying, cheating, deceiving. Even now, like a lot of black men don't like the Democratic Party because they see what they're doing. A lot of men see the divide that the Democratic Party is playing in um further separating black men and black women. So if you because think about it, why would Pam Keith say if you voted for Donald Trump you don't like black women? Why would she say that if they didn't connect like black loyalty and black women loyalty to the Democratic Party? Like, cause it's like basically this is this is you showing us that you love black women by voting this old white man in office.
Mm-hmm.
That's that bullshit. And then why would they go out of their way to pay attention to the small percentage of black men that voted the other way? If they wasn't purposely trying to further that divide within the black community, like why would they go out their way to do stuff like that?
Yeah, I just and I definitely didn't intend and don't want to turn this into a black woman bashing session
Well, and
because
it's not a black woman back. It's a Democratic Party bashing.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
political thing because the black community is being played.
I just want to, like I said, I want to and that because there are a lot of sisters out there that get it. We talk to them all the time that don't play these games, but when we see these narratives picking up, and this narrative is one that's picking up. This narrative that the election was close. It suggests that the election was close because black men were siding with Donald Trump. Like,
Just like look at the numbers, dumbasses.
come on, is that what we doing?
So
Like,
you gonna tell me half the country, mostly whites and Hispanics, mostly whites and Hispanics didn't vote for Trump? You gonna tell me that? So because if you're gonna make the argument that Trump that the race was close because of black men, that means that it's a whole number of black men somewhere that we didn't know that's out here voting. That matter of fact, it's a whole number of black men that exist in America that we had no idea.
mm-hmm.
Like, stop that.
Yeah, and that's essentially what I'm saying right there. Let's stop this. And I really see this narrative. Um, I really see this narrative picking up steam because it really started a couple election cycles ago. You know what I'm saying? Like it really did. So now it's like I don't like where this is going. I don't
Nah,
like where I see this going at all.
nah. All right. So we don't think. Well, we think the Biden administration will give Cuba another chance, but we're gonna see how that works out. And we're gonna see
Yeah,
what you know.
yeah. I don't think nothing's gonna come from it though. If I'm being totally
Right.
honest.
So last part, Biden has his lift every voice and sing plan, whatever the name of it is. Um, Biden has his plan, which is more in depth and has more components and some of the same components as Ice Cube's plan.
Word.
Biden is in office moving forward. Biden administration have their own plan, plus the access to the Black Caucus who has their plans, and other Black groups who already have plans in place that have a better standing right now, but socially and politically with the Biden administration.
Mm-hmm.
But despite all that, with the plan, with their own plan in place and these other resources, do they give the contract of Black America a chance in addition to working these other plans?
I don't think so. I don't see where they have to. It's not like we gonna force them to. And
Right.
again, it's not like there's anything in that plan. Uh, well, I'm not gonna say there isn't because there are things in that plan that are kind of different than what everybody else has. Although I think everybody else has things to touch on the exact same subjects. Um, but
There's
it's
because there are differences, but there's
yeah.
similarity.
But at the end of the day, there ain't who's gonna force them to. At this point, well, it goes back to what you said earlier. The black community ain't really fucking with Cube right now in mass.
Right.
So where's the political force that's going to require that they sit down and talk with Ice Cube? If they do, like I said, I feel like it'll be kind of one of those things to maybe try to shift the black male vote back to the Democratic Party. Um, but I honestly I don't see nothing. I think Cube need to redirect his energy somewhere else at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see it. It's sad the way it died, but I just think black community just so far away from Cube that you said something earlier. Even it like who would make them? Who's going to make somebody pay attention to it now? Because the people, if the people were behind it, the people could make them pay attention to it.
Right,
Because I think at this point, because they have access to these other planes and they have access to the same people Cube have access to and more.
right.
So it's I if we don't pay your plan attention, what you gonna do?
Yeah, I think that sums it up. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you ain't gonna do nothing. Cause you can't do nothing. Cause ain't nobody backing you.
Right. And it's like I said, the if I in reading, like we both read both plans. We both read both plans and we both agree that Ice Cube's plan is though it's a plan, but it's not it's not it's I mean it's
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 a wish
not it's
list.
yeah, it's not a plan. It's
Yeah,
a wish
it's a
list.
wish list.
It's a
So,
wish list. So yeah, I
um,
mean, um, but that's why I asked the question. The nature of the contract with Black America, the atmosphere that surrounds it. Plus, we already got our own plan, and you ain't want to sit down with my vice president, even though it was some bullshit the way we did it, but you ain't do that. So why would we even give you the time of day? Why would we even consider your contract? This is the same contract that you helped Donald Trump with this platinum plan with the narrative.
and I mean, we can't. I like how we know DL Hughley ain't have a plan when he came to the table.
That deal, well, shit, he been on the radio this whole time. He ain't said nothing.
He
He
might be
tell us
moving in
everything else.
silence like Ice Cube did.
Nah, you talk every day. You talk every day, and you talking about Ice Cube every day. So you can't talk about him, and you probably talking about him moving in silence. You can't do that, and then um, be quiet on what you're doing. Nope, you can't do that. Nope.
Yeah, I don't really. But that's actually to me that's another red flag for the Democratic Party. Is the fact that they seem to really like meeting, not just them, because it's really everybody in the political establishment. But the Democrats seem to get brownie points for meeting with black celebrities. Um, Whereas, and it's funny looking at it too because the Republican Trump got roasted for meeting with black celebrities. Like Steve Harvey ain't our leader. How many times did we hear that Kanye ain't our leader? Kim Kardashian, these are celebrities. But then the Democrats
Right.
go and do the same shit
And get a pass. But
and
it's
get a
it's
pass.
you know what that's about though. It's like we like the people better than we like y'all. So
Well, yeah, but it's funny too because it's funny the black community because I talked about this in the show I dropped yesterday when because one of the questions I got was about the '94 crime bill, and my views on that are a little bit different from the rest of the communities. But it's interesting that how selective we are about how we assign blame for something. Because when it comes to the '94 crime bill, we let the fucking Democrats have it, but we give the Republicans a pass, even though they voted for the shit too. And in a lot of regards, that made the shit worse. But we allowed Donald Trump to say Joe Biden was there with the '94 crime bill. That wasn't Republicans, that was Democrats that did that. And it's like, how did we allow him to say that and then go in our brains? Yeah, that is true. The Democrats did do as if the Republican Party had nothing to do with it. It's just real funny how we selectively like process things and blame people for shit. So, anyways, now that Joe Biden is the president and Donald Trump can contest all he like and the Republican Party can throw all the temper tantrums they want, it ain't gonna matter because at the end of the day, they all know. Maybe Trump don't know, but the rest of them know that the man won fair and square. And if y'all keep on keeping on like you keeping on, you're gonna break the cultural norm that says that previous administrations don't get brought up on charges because that's a cultural norm as well. When the
Yeah.
new administration comes in, they tend to pardon the previous administration for all the fucked up shit they did while they was in office. Y'all keep going with this path of destroying cultural norms, y'all gonna break one that's gonna hurt. Now, I think Joe Biden is puss. He already talking about we need to heal and blah blah blah. So that means that the Democrats are going back to their traditional ass, punk ass, puss ass, fuckboy ass ways of not having a goddamn spine or a backbone. But you let one of them fucking young gunners that don't give a shit about nothing come up through the ranks and get some power, and you watch that political norm be broken. I would actually support that motherfucker. Um, Let these administrations start getting put in jail after they finish their terms. Like, and that because I honestly feel like that's what needs to start happening.
Right.
Like Trump don't need to be pardoned. His ass need to go to trial.
Yeah.
And it need to be a message to Joe Biden. You do some fucked up shit. You
We're gonna
going to
get.
trial after your term over too.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be any exceptions. But I don't give a fuck what your position was, what your job was. It shouldn't be any exceptions. If you done some shit that's illegal, your ass need to go to jail. If you're gonna send somebody to jail for stealing fucking bag of tater chips, you should send Donald Trump to jail and everybody else to jail for all the fuck shit they did. Let's keep it 100 across the board.
You just sound country as hell. My dude said tater
Tater
chips.
chips. But look here, but now that's ideal. Reality is like Amstel Rothschild said, if I control the nation's money supply, I care not who makes its laws.
Yeah.
To be part of the winning team, you can get away with doing shit, but you gotta have the right skin to get in though.
Hey, and that's what I'm trying to. That's what we trying to tell folk. Y'all need to listen, man. But I mean, it's a lot to talk about with politics right now. But I don't do I like I said in the show last night. I think Joe Biden winning is more beneficial than Trump winning. But I
Yeah,
think we
yeah,
was going to survive either way. Like I don't feel like another 4 years of Trump was going to destroy us. It was gonna hurt. I ain't gonna say I'm not gonna front and say it wasn't gonna hurt. It was gonna hurt, but I feel like we would survive. But I definitely Cube as far as the show is concerned with him. And we're talking about this because we were having a discussion about whether or not we would continue to break down the contract for Black America, and we basically telling y'all why we not gonna do it because it's no longer relevant. It don't serve a purpose no more because 9 times out of 10 it's not gonna be utilized.
right,
It's probably dead in our estimation. It's dead.
right. And so also like so this show right now, this show will this we'll put a cap or a comma. This would be the comma, right? Because we wanna wait and see what happens, but we
Right.
we also don't want to be breaking down the contract that folk ain't gonna use. So if we're gonna use the contract, then we can pick it back up. That if not, then why continue to break down the contract?
Yeah.
Especially after everything that has happened, especially because we gave y'all all the reasons. Look how people are looking at him. So people looking at him like, bro, you sold us out. Even though we don't believe he did, but that's how people are looking at him.
Right.
So also the black going back through our points of why we're putting the cap on it for right now. We're gonna pause it for right now. It's one a good number of the black community decide that they not fucking with Ice Cube, Plies included. Remember, we have to name Plies because he's the most important part of this. So
Yeah, you caught me off guard with that one.
hey, it's a little body shot. so so the black
Fucking
community
plies.
black community
Nigga
decide we're
AI.
not rocking with Ice Cube. Well, they're not rocking with Ice Cube. So the section of black community said, nah, what he did was some fuck shit. He talked to Trump, so we're not rocking with him. Two, the Joe Biden administration hasn't had great rapport with Ice Cube thus far. And trying to set up meetings and all the things that they've had, and especially what Cube is saying. The last time he said he sat down with somebody from the Joe Biden administration. They talked for 45 minutes, didn't even get to the black for the contract Black America. Another meeting was set up with DL Hughley, Snoop Dogg, and some other rappers and celebrities, Killer Mike and some folk. Ice Cube's like, man, fuck that. Like, it's a lose-lose situation. So the report isn't there. And then thirdly, you got the Lift Every Voice and Sing plan and the Black Caucus plan and all the other plans that already exist that are more in depth and have a lot more action steps than Ice Cube's plan. So with all that being said, that's why we putting the cap on this right now, because it seems pointless after everything I just said. It seems pointless to keep going along with it, hoping that people mess with it. We want to see people mess with it, then we'll pick it back up. So
Yeah. And I'm gonna cap my point by saying, y'all stop acting like Joe Biden winning is a celebratory affair.
it's
It's
not.
not.
Black people
It's not.
dancing in the street like they think racism is over. You got people crying. You got what that Van
Yeah.
Jones? Not Van
Van
Jones.
Jones crying.
Yeah.
Nah, that
Fuck
was
you
Van
crying for?
Jones
Fuck you
crying like
crying
his
for?
mama told him to go get a switch.
For
Like
what?
dude was legit crying. He was legit crying like he was walking to an ass whooping.
But I didn't understand what he was crying for.
Cause he was saying that I guess he was overcome with emotion. Cause he was saying it's one of them days where, as a parent, you can tell your kids that character and honesty and all this other shit matters. And I was like looking at it like, no, the fuck you can't. Cause Donald,
How when the current president just showed you the whole administration just showed you that
what he's saying because they lost. But again, I'm
they
like
won.
y'all losing sight of the fact that Donald Trump got over 70 million votes. Like this motherfucker got a lot of fucking votes. And it was
Like,
a time where all y'all was scared. It was looking real shaky, real shaky.
well, I mean, he lost this election, but the fact that he won an election, talking about grabbing pussy.
And let's be real too, right? Like if he doesn't get COVID, never mind how he handled COVID. If he doesn't get COVID, a lot of people are saying he doesn't lose. A lot of experts that study this shit are saying when Donald Trump got COVID, he took a dip. He took a dip in his points, his base. He took a hit because all of a sudden COVID became real to a lot of people that it wasn't real to before he got infected.
And they lost faith in him.
Right. So you can't say all this shit matters when we're talking about if this dude doesn't get sick, he wins. Never mind all of the shit he said and done. What did Trump in was COVID. Not the racism, not the lies, not the cheating, not the mangling of traditions, customs, norms, not the mangling of laws, not the infidelity, not the immorality. None of that shit mattered. What did him in was catching a pandemic.
Go
you
figure.
can't tell you can't tell me that being a good person matters in this society. You can't tell me that character matters, honesty, integrity, doing the right. So I was looking at him like, bro, you're a political analyst. You should not be making these statements. Your crying ass. The fuck? Like it's one thing. I ain't got, and men can cry. I ain't got nothing against that. What the fuck were you crying for at that moment? What the
Right.
fuck is happening?
Right. That's my thing. Like, what are you crying for? Like, what about this makes you feel like you should be shedding tears of joy?
And the same goes for all you other people. Like when Barack Obama was elected, and people are crying like they were back in 2008 when Obama got elected.
Right. Because this I understand why people cry when Barack
Right, I
Obama got
got
elected.
that. I got that.
But this is not even close. It's not even close. Now, what are you all
this is
doing?
crazy. This is
Like for
crazy.
real, like what are you doing? Like why are you crying over this? But yeah, I don't know, man. So it's gonna be interesting to see what's going to happen moving forward. But black people, I'm gonna keep saying, do not get caught slipping. Don't be out here. And you know what's funny is all the posts that are like, hey, we back to normal racism now. So it's funny the fact that okay, so y'all did realize racism was happening. This was just the racism you was cool with.
Oh yeah. We talk about that all the time, though, Joe. People don't want to end racism. They just don't want to have to deal with it. They don't want to have to see it. Like
Right.
racism is cool as long as I can pretend it don't exist.
Yeah.
And that's
Which
that's the black community. I ain't talking about the white people. I'm talking about the black people. Racism is cool as long as I ain't gotta have that conversation with my kid because I'm isolated in a space to where any sort of racism that might seep in, I can tell my children it's something else.
I'm gonna say this real quick too. Some of y'all people need to stop acting like y'all don't know what world you live in. And if you can't handle the stuff that go with having interracial relationships and interracial kids, don't have them. And I say that because I remember hearing a story about this white lady who made interracial babies with a black dude. She has an interracial son, black son. He recognizes himself as black. She's taught him to she basically is punishing him for her having the black son. So he can't wear hoodies. He can't walk around with his hands in his pockets. He can't do this. He can't do this. He can't do. She gave him a whole list of instructions because now, as a white woman who has a black son, now you're afraid of the world that your son live in. But you knew what world your son. You knew what kind of world you lived in because when your son was born, you was like, damn, I got to do these things. But now you're going overboard, and I just think it's crazy that she's basically limiting and punishing her son for her deciding to have an interracial child, an interracial relationship, rather than using all that energy and not restricting him, but using all that energy to go out to your fellow white people and help stop racism. Like, if you want to help, you can't help by restricting the things. Like, don't have interracial babies
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna try to restrict, especially the ones who claim black, who identify with blackness. Restricting them won't keep them alive. It's just
Right.
helping you feel better at the time, but it won't keep them alive. What will
Absolutely
keep
not.
them alive is you all fighting racism on a regular basis instead of like, hey, she told a man he can't wear no hoodies and walk around with his hands in his pockets. What? I'm like, I'm black. I'm a black dude. I walk around with my hoodie on and my hand in my pocket at the same time.
I agree
Like
with that though. You
like
right.
stop that. Like stop like be real about yourself, about the world that you live in, and use that energy to fight racism rather than restricting your children or your loved one because you now you have to worry about the 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 symptoms of white supremacy and how it affects black people negatively. So
Mm-hmm.
get your mind right. Hey man, got any parting shots
In your motherfucking face.
in your motherfucking face? Ladies, I'm single. That's
Yeah,
my
he
parting shots.
single. Yeah, he single. Yeah, he
Hey man,
single.
freedomtrainradio.com. We out here. See y'all later. Peace to the Middle East.